those people are selfless. They are doing their job because they want to build their country, not their pockets. And if Kenya, we took some bit of that, I think would be really far.
My name is Maureen Wanja and I am a Lapid leader. I led the study mission trip to Kigali, Rwanda. It was a 5-day study mission trip. Our main objective while going to Kigali, Rwanda was to understand East Africa integration, develop a Pan-African perspective, and understand the culture of the Rwandans.
And one thing that really stood out for me there was about being value-driven.
I led the Rwanda Development Board meeting where we met with the government officials. Throughout the meeting, what really stood out was their good governance and the implementation of policies. They are really focused on not only having policies, but implementing them. They borrow most of their policies from Kenya, and I think the main difference between Rwanda and Kenya is the fact that Rwanda implement the policies that they have. The gap that we have in Kenya is we have good policies, but it becomes a problem in implementing.
They put their values in acronyms so that everyone can relate to them. There's this acronym called ARISE. A standing for accountability, R responsibility, I integrity, a sense of urgency, and E for excellence.
I could say it was life-changing for most of us.
To be continuously a learner and learning new things and learning better ways of doing things.
The other thing that I picked up from the trip to Rwanda was holding yourself responsible. Never pity yourself. No dream is too big, no dream is too shallow. You have to dream and dream and dream again. These things don't happen in a day, they don't happen alone.
Another thing that stood out for me in Rwanda was about patriotism. The good thing with Rwandese, they remember their past. We seem to have forgotten, the pain that was inflicted on us. But there, it's a constant reminder, it's something that drives them.
When we were planning for this trip, we tried to reach to some of our leaders to come up with the funds to get us to Rwanda. But it did not happen. We did not actually meet some of these leaders. These leaders sometimes used to give us timelines to meet. We called them and did a lot to get to them, but it really touched me to hear that we had a meeting with the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Youth. And while there, she said if it was possible or if we could have planned a little bit earlier, the chances of us meeting the president, Mr. Kagame, were higher than I would have met my MCA back in Kenya.
I've seen Rwanda, they have minimal resources, but they are doing great things. So I'll apply the minimal resources that I've learned from Lapid and in school and do something great which other people who will have a lot of resources but won't do anything.
I can summarize what I learned on leadership in 2 things. I learned the beauty and the value of working as a team. While we were there, everyone was leading. We were all working together towards seeing this trip become a success. I also learned something from one of the speakers, Ephraim, and he was talking about Psalms chapter 1, and the way he was saying that in that Psalms, God says, is it David? David asks God to be planted as a tree by the rivers that will bear fruit in due season. And I realized leadership, if you're not bearing any fruits, you're not a leader. If you're not making room for other leaders to grow, then you're not practicing any form of leadership.
My name is Timothy Njoroge Odur. I'm a Lapid leader.